What's up, party people?
Hey, what up, party people?
I know it's been a while, but it is your boy, the Big Rob Theory. The reason that it's been a while is because I was traveling with work for a little bit, a month and a week to be exact. I'm back now, and today I'm going to be reviewing Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1 through 3. So this has been built up for a long time, and I'm truly excited, not only as a DC fan, but as a comic book nerd, that this has finally come to fruition. So for those of you who are still unsure about what Crisis on Infinite Earths is, it's basically a gigantic crisis, if you will, that involves multiple Earths in the multiverse. So a bunch of parallel Earths are suddenly disappearing due to the work of a villain called the Anti-Monitor. In DC Comics, there is the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor, and both play a huge role in Crisis on Infinite Earths. During Part 1, which premiered during Supergirl, I was very pleased because it was a great build-up while still having a good amount of action in the first part of the episode, or the first part in general. The way how the creators of this show incorporated the comic book aspect along with the live action aspect was really well done. Even though you can't really take everything 100% from the comics, I'd honestly say that they got pretty close, which is really good because all the characters that they're incorporating into this Crisis crossover is astounding, and we still have yet to see all the characters that are in Crisis. And there's 3 parts out already, 2 left to come out in January. So during Part 1, it's basically a build-up, as I said earlier. It's mainly focused on like Supergirl and the Supergirl cast, if you will. Everybody else is incorporated, but because it's aired on Supergirl, it's more focused on Supergirl. Just like in Part 2, it's aired on Batwoman, so it's more focused on Batwoman and having to deal with Gotham City related stuff. And Part 3 is focused mainly on the Flash and the Flash's characters because it's aired on the Flash. During Part 1, there is a great essence of the true nature of Crisis that happens. And again, as I said before, yes, there's not that much that happens, but also there's significant things that happen, specifically to Supergirl and people like her. Trying to keep this as spoiler-free as possible because this is awesome, and I try my best not to do spoiler reviews and reactions, so guess what? No spoilers from your boy, or I'm gonna try. Sorry in advance if I do. I know I'm not getting too much into Part 1 because, as I said, I don't really want to spoil that much for you, and on top of that, it's more of a build-up for what happens in episodes 2 and 3 of Crisis. Well, let's get to Part 2. Part 2 is quite amazing because you have a lot of cameos from older shows. This isn't that much of a spoiler because this actually came out before Crisis even started, and actually weeks before any other previews or anything happened. Kevin Conroy, who was the voice of the animated Batman during the animated Batman series, is in the Crisis crossover. That's all I'm giving you. In episode 2, there are a lot of references to the comics, to other characters, to future things that could happen in Crisis, which I'm assuming that they are hinting at, for the January 14th release, which is the 2-part finale of Crisis. Which I hate that we have to wait so long, but I mean, I get it. I get it. So during this second episode, there's a lot more build-up, and as I said before, it's aired on Batwoman, so it's mainly focused on her and her characters and kind of her arc. So you get to see a lot of character development from start to finish with the episode, and I was very, very surprised and amazed with Ruby Rose's performance in this episode specifically, and Melissa Benoist's performance in this episode, because both of them kind of spearheaded a lot of moments, and they actually worked really well together, not only as actresses, but in the actual realm of the show. The characters like bounced off each other and helped each other, in various ways, like how Batman and Superman help each other and kind of have odds at times. That's how Batwoman and Supergirl were in this episode. So I think that created a great dynamic between 2 female lead roles. And I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, everybody knows I'm a huge Flash fan. One of my favorite, if not my favorite, DC characters. For me, it was the most anticipated episode of The Crisis. And personally, I think it was the most exciting episode of The Crisis mainly because we all expected the main thing of Crisis, which is Flash vanishes during Crisis. So leading into part 3, come in Flash and all of his characters and all of his friends. Mind you, Flash was involved in episodes 1 and 2 as well, and then you had little cameos with other Flash characters, of course. You know, this is a crossover, so all characters will be in all episodes in essence. Seeing as to how this episode, part 3, took place on the Flash, it was mainly centered around him and his arc too. Now, for those of you who have watched the CW shows and have seen build-ups and everything, you know that since the start of the Flash series, it says, there was an article that said, Flash vanishes during Crisis. Now, we all thought because it was a picture of him and, you know, everything, that it would be Barry Allen from Earth 1 who vanishes in Crisis, which, fun fact, in the comics from the 80s and 70s and all these different issues that they have of Crisis, it actually is Barry Allen of Earth 1 who vanishes in Crisis. However, there's multiple versions of these comics with multiple versions of these heroes. Hint, 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 hint. So when you hear Flash vanishes in Crisis, you think, oh man, Barry Allen, boop, he's gonna vanish, show's over, alright guys, let's go home, hasta luego, bye. Take into account, you never know what these shows are gonna throw at you. There are many times before where I thought a lot of these characters in the CW shows would die or something would happen, and then you're like, oh, well, didn't expect that to happen. So just keep an open mind when coming to this. I'm not gonna tell you what happens to him in this episode. All I can tell you is you need to watch this episode. All the episodes of Crisis, but you really need to watch and pay attention during this episode because a lot of significant things happen that set up for the following episodes that'll come in a few weeks. So overall, episodes 1 through 3, I think were really well written, really well filmed, and really well done. The acting between all characters was just astounding. I love how many people they brought into this crossover, and I get it. It's a lot of heroes that you have to go through the multiverse to find, to bring together in order to bring this crisis to an end or, you know, fight this crisis off. But the way how they incorporated that into live action was beautiful. I have to give props to all the creators of DC Comics and the CW network and all of these various TV shows for coming together and doing such a beautiful crossover. I'm excited for parts 4 and 5 on January 14th because God only knows what's going to happen. And I think a few of us know what might happen, but we thought one thing would happen or several things would happen. These past 3 episodes show us different. So all I can say to you is be prepared for anything to happen in this crisis. One other thing I want to touch on about these episodes. Pay attention to various subtle statements that the Monitor makes while talking to the heroes. And not even just subtle statements, just anything he says in regards to these heroes and what needs to happen and the way how he speaks about things, because you'll kind of get a sense for what's coming. At the same time, it like shifts your focus and makes you think about it another way, if that makes sense. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it wasn't that long, especially because it is an episode 1 through 3 review and reaction, but I had to get something out there. It's been a while since I posted, and I'm definitely going to be posting a lot more about Crisis, especially leading up to the final 2 episodes. Please stay in tune and check that out. Please like this video, comment on it, let me know your thoughts, what you thought about the episodes. I didn't dive too much into them because I definitely don't want to spoil anything just yet. And I'm definitely going to be posting another video about these episodes where I'm going more in depth about them. This video is just mainly to, you know, give a general overview of my thoughts of each episode very vaguely and just kind of get the excitement up there a little bit. So just in case some of you haven't seen Crisis yet, go ahead and watch it. Alright, thank you guys so much. Again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't and share this with your friends. Thanks guys, and away we go.